What's up, guys? Welcome back. In this video, I'm going to be doing a quick like run through, basically like to do moral strings. And I'm going to be doing a palindrome thing at the end. So let me just comment this palindrome because it's kind of hard to find these. You can't just, it's hard to think of them, but I'm just gonna say, was it a rat I saw? And actually, I'll just say I saw. I'll just say it like that. Whatever. So that's basically the palindrome. Backwards is was it a rat I saw. So it's the same thing. Um, so what I actually want to do is I want to simply first cover a couple things that have to do with strings. So I'm going to say new string is equal to those empty string character, which is what that's called there. And before I actually continue, I do kind of want to cover a couple things. So, for instance, when printing, or just when writing strings in general, I can do something like this. So I can do hello, and I can do N like that. Now, this slash is above the enter symbol on the keyboard if you're using Windows. Um, it should be kind of in the same area for Mac and Linux, but it's not the slash near the period, it's the other one. So it's not this one, or you'll get an error. Or it won't work actually. It won't be an error, but it's this one. So when I do that and then I say world, watch what happens. It puts it on a separate line. So if you want to put multiple things there and you want to put it on a separate line, you would do that. Now if I do hello world, you see that it goes away and I can't do that and we get an error here. Now in order to fix that, we have to put a backslash again here. And now you can put it on a separate line and it works. So that's just how a couple of things you can do. You also can do so if we do this here, hello world. Now if we do \T, we get a tab. So that's how you can do a tab. If you want to say let's say let's do something else here. It's a new day. You can see right away that colon or the semicolon there kind of it's kind of in relation to this one, so everything else here doesn't work. As you can see, we get invalid error, right? In order to escape that, we use that backslash again in front of it. Oops, if I can move there. There we go. And now if we run it, it's a new day. So that's how you would escape that. Same for double quotes as well. If I didn't have that, if I didn't have that escape there, this was double quotes, and this is double quotes. You can see here we get an error again, and then if I do that, it works. So that's just how you would do that. Just showing you that really quickly. So what I want to do is I want to create something that basically checks to see if something is a palindrome or not. So we're going to need a couple of things. So first, I'm going to need to do something called replace because I want to get rid of all of the space in between each word. So we just have characters. So I'm going to say new string, and I'm going to change this to was it a rat I saw, like that. And then what I want to do is new string is equal to new string dot replace, and you can see it popped up here. And we have a ton of methods here. Maybe I can go through some of these. Capitalizing letters, it's pretty straightforward. Count, to get the number of characters, or you can use length, which is I'll show you in a minute. Find, if you're trying to find like a certain character in the string. Format, so like if you want to format the string in a certain way, which I'll show you as well. And index is alpha, meaning it's a letter, or no, is ASCII is a letter. Alpha, I think, is also one. Decimal digit, that's if it's a number only. Is numeric, meaning it's a number. Is lowercase. Is space, if it's a white space character, which is, remember, just an empty space. White space characters is like this, and then an empty character is, let me just, like this. So there's no space in between there, so that's the difference there. Um, and so we have a ton of them. Like, I mean, we have all the functions here, or methods, the same thing. So you can look into all these if you want. But for this one, I'm going to do replace. And that basically takes the string we want to replace and we replace it with what we want to. So we're going to take a white space character and then we're going to replace it with an empty character like that. And so now what I want to do is I want to simply just print this. So let's see what we have first before we continue. Let's just go ahead and print this. You can see, was it a rat? I saw no spaces. So now what I want to do is I want to basically create a simple loop. So in order to do that, we need to know like the range. So we can't just say range and then start somewhere and stop somewhere because it'd be hard coding, which is like this where you hard code something and it's not really dynamic. Like you can't really take an input or anything like that. It's kind of like you put it in the source code. We don't want to do that. We want this to be dynamic. So what we want to do is we want to do for, or we can create a variable first if you want, and we can do so let's just say length of string is equal to, and then here's what we need to do. We need to do len for length. You see how it turns purple? And then parentheses, just like the print methods and all of that. Just like with these methods, they have parentheses, things like length, a length, print, input. Those are basically methods that are built in with Python, so we don't have to put a dot in front of them or anything. So that's just still the same thing as this replace method here. It's just a different way of writing it. Um, it's like built in pretty much. It's not a certain like object type like string. So now we'll do length of, and then we can pass in the length of what we want. So this is going to give us the length, right? Oops, no semicolon. So the length, we don't want the length. We want to, um, well, we do want the length, but we also want to, um, we basically want to take the beginning character and the end character and we want to compare the two. So the end of string is actually going to be equal to length of string minus 1. Why is that? Because the length of the string, the length of the string is basically, um, it starts at 1. Like if we have 10 characters, it'll give us a length of 10, right? But the index starts at 0, so we need to go from 0 to 9. That's why the last index will be a 9 instead of a 10. So here I want to do for, and we can just say character. You can name this whatever you want. You can do index again. I'm just gonna name it ch for character, and I'm gonna say for character in, and then I can do length of string, because length of string returns a number, an integer. Then I can do so I want to check if it's basically if the beginning index and the ending index is basically like equal. So what I actually want to do is, and actually what I'm gonna do before I do that, I know I'm saying like jumping all over the place a lot. So new string, and actually we can put this on one line. We don't need to do multiple lines for that. We can do, so once we replace it, we can just say dot um, lower like that, and that'll actually make it lowercase as well. So we should be able to do if, um, let me see here. So we can do if, and then we can say new string. And really, I'm going to say index because that's really like what this, it would make more sense to call it that. So I'm gonna say if new string, and then I'm gonna say index, which should start at 0, is equal to new string, and then what will we do? End of string, then we want to say continue, else um, we want to say if new string, wait. We also want the median. I almost forgot to put that in there. So we want the middle. So you can see here, if we count without the spaces, it'll be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. So this works out in our favor, actually, because this is odd, meaning that there's going to be a number in the middle. That's the median. So in order to get that, we just got to do median is equal to length of string divided by 2 plus 1. And this is order of operations, so it'll divide it first and then do a plus 1. But if for some reason you have like two division symbols and you want to like do something like first before the other thing, like if we have like times and you want to multiply it first, you can actually just simply put it in parentheses, just like order of operations here. But because this is order of operations, it does division first, then we can just leave it like that. So it's going to divide by 2 to get the one below it and add 1 to get the median. So if it's 13 divided by 2, remember, well, actually, it should be integer division as well. So we want to do that. And so that's going to give us 13 divided by 2 is 6, and then plus 1 is 7, which is the middle number. And so we want to say, because we don't actually want to do this here. I actually have this wrong. We want to do, so I'm going to do a while loop for this because it makes more sense. So I'm going to say while, basically, let me see. I'm going to do a counter as well. So we'll do counter is equal to 0. This just makes more sense. Looks neater. So we'll do counter is less than the median. So meaning 0 to 6. We want to do if, then we want to check that again. So we want to say if, and then new string counter, meaning it starts at 0, so it'll give us the first index. And we want to say if that's equal to new string end of string, then we want to simply continue. And then if it's not, we want to say this is not a palindrome. And then we want to break. So what this break statement does is it inside of any loop, if this break statement is hit, it'll leave the loop. So if the counter is not equal to median yet, then basically it should also be counter plus equal to 1 to continue it. But if the counter is not equal to the median yet of 7, then basically it'll keep going. But for instance, if counter is at 3 and we find out that those characters aren't equal, so like for instance, when we get to W and we find out like W actually isn't the character that's equal, when we actually do this, then and this actually should say I saw, not was. Sorry about that. That should say saw. Okay, now so instead if we get to S, and you should see here, like if this was an A for instance, or whatever I just typed there, basically if they're not equal, it'll leave the while loop so that we don't continue. So that's what that does. And so outside of here, we can do else, meaning that basically a loop wasn't finished, and we can say actually no, we don't need that. Actually, this should be good. So we also could put an else here as well. I can show that you can put an else here outside of the loop. So if the for loop doesn't happen because the condition isn't met, then it'll just go to this else and skip the while completely. We don't need that here for this. So this right here should almost work, but we also need to say end of string, which is an integer. We have to actually subtract that each time as well. So we want to say end of string minus equals 1. So that'll basically move the index string, the index for that down 1, and it'll actually move the other one up 1. And let me just write this out really quick. You don't have to do this. I'm just going to show you this really quick. Was it a rat I saw? And this might look kind of crazy. I'll put spaces in it. A rat I saw. Just imagine that the white space wasn't there, because what I'm trying to do is make this look neater for you. I didn't want to just jumble it all together. So I'm right below that. I'm gonna do 0, 1, 2, space 3, 4. Now, if you have white space in there, it'll actually say 3, 4 like that. It includes the white space as like one of the index positions. But remember, we took it out when we replaced it, so that's why I'm skipping over that. So 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Okay, hold on. 10. I'm gonna just say 11, and then 12. Let me just actually. So that's basically what it is. So first index, second index, third index, fourth index, fifth index. But you see, it's 0, so it's not fifth, it's fourth, and then so on and so forth here. 10. This just basically, it's not a 1 and a 0 again. It doesn't go back to 1. This means the 10th index, but I just basically couldn't put it underneath it exactly. So um, that's how that would work. So when we do this, we should have a 12 here because the length is 13, right? But we did minus 1, so we get a 12. And so now it's going to check 0 and 12 here. They're equal. Okay, it continues. And this continue line just means it continues the loop again. 1 and 2, they're equal. Or 1 and 11, they're equal. Continue. 2 and 10, they're equal. Continue. And honestly, because we're doing a loop, we don't even need this continue line here. We actually can get rid of it because as long as that counter is less than the median, it's going to run the loop again and again and again. Because counter is plus equal to 1, it increments by 1 each time. So it's going to run it again and again until it gets to that median. Now, when it gets to the median, we don't want it to check it because the median is by itself. So then it wouldn't basically work. So that's basically how this works here. Let me just get rid of this here. And so if we run this here, you should see that and actually I'll put something here just to show as well. It'd be like letters match, just so that you can see the process here. So we run it, letters match, and you can see here that we never hit this line of this is not a palindrome. I change one letter here, run it, this is not a palindrome. See, letters match, it ran twice. 0 index, 12th index, first index, 11th index, second index. Oop, 10th index is not equal. This is not a palindrome, and we left the loop, and then you can see it didn't continue. So that's basically how you would do strings here. Something else I guess I could show you as well. Let me just get rid of this here. You can comment this out if you want. Something else I just want to quickly show you is, for instance, if we have a string, I can do new string again. I'm going to just say, hi, my name is Jamar. And then I can do, if you want to get certain characters back, let's just say new string is going to be equal to, and then we want to get certain characters. So we can do new string, and then we actually can start and stop where we want. So let's say, for instance, we want to get, remember the white space characters are included because we didn't remove these. So let's say we wanted to start and say my name is Jamar and get rid of the hi. So this is 0, 1, 2, and we need to start at 3. So we'll do 3, and let's say I want to say my name is and remove the name part. Well, 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. So basically, we want to stop at 13. So we don't want to include 14 or beyond that. So we'll say 3 to 13 with the colon there. Now, if we run this, if we print it actually, we should get my name is. So we stopped on the last index here, which was 13, and we didn't go past that. We started with index 3, which remember is the fourth index because it starts with 0. So that's how you would do that, and you can do this to basically slice things out. Like, for instance, I guess I could show you that too. So I can just say, I can say for index in length of new string, I can say new string is equal to new string of, let's say, 1 to the end. And by the way, if you do like colon colon -1, that'll give you the reverse. Because -1 is like the first index on the other side, so like the last index pretty much. You can go negative to go backwards as well. But we just want to say 1 to the end. So if you don't specify anything on the other side of the colon, it'll just mean you want to go to the very end, I think. Maybe I gotta do 2. We'll find out in a minute when I run it. So I want to just print new string each time, like that. So if we run this, first let me clear this just to make it look a little bit neater. So if we run this, int object is not iterable. Oh, you know what? Let me do range. Let me put this in a range here. All right, oops. Let's try that again. You can see here, it started with 1, so it immediately sliced off the H here, which was the 0 index. So my name is Jamar, and you can see it keeps slicing off 1 each time. So on and so forth till it gets to the R, and then it gets to none. And then if we do this, oops, you see we get the same thing. So either way works here. So just wanted to show you that, how you can like slice things and do different things with that. So let me see, one more thing I wanted to show you. For instance, if I want to print, hi, my name is Jamar, but I actually want to put in something here, I can do some dynamic print statements here, and I can just say curly brace, 0 curly brace, closing curly brace. It's like a placeholder. So if you have more than one variable you want to put in, you can like format it however you want. And my favorite food is, and then 1 like that. And so how we would use this is inside of our print statement, we would do print new string dot format, and then we would take in our arguments. So our arguments would be something like, for instance, Jamar, and then the other one would be, so however many arguments you have to match the numbers here. You see I started at 0 for the first one as well. Same thing with this, is 0 index. Then I can say pizza. And if I run this, watch what happens. Hi, my name is Jamar. My favorite food is pizza. Now, clearly it didn't run this here. Now, if I didn't format this, and I want to just say print new string, just comment this out. Or I'll just put it next to it, I guess. And then I'll also put enter there. I'll put 2 of them. Print it. You can see here, it will just show the curly braces, and that's not what we want. But you see how we made it dynamic by doing the dot format on the string. And doing that, we can also just take this entire string here, and we can get rid of this piece, and we can just say dot format. Because it's still a string, even though it's an actual value, we still get the same thing. So there's a lot of different things you can do with streams. This is just like touching on some of the stuff that you can do with it. Um, there's other methods, obviously, and just really getting dynamic with this kind of stuff. So I hope you enjoyed this video. I tried to do the palindrome thing to try to make it a little more engaging. If you have any questions, leave them in the comment sections, and see you later.